Thank you, Aaron. I didn't actually know that Andrew was in blurb retirement, so I'm like, oh wow. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Yeah, we good. Yeah. So the Fireman's Daughter is my debut full-length collection, and I was really nervous about making it perfect. And you only get one shot at your first go, and then Aaron was like, just put some stuff out there. There's too much pressure on first collections. And I was like, you know what, Aaron, you are right. How am I ever going to get anything done? Done is better than perfect has become a kind of life motto. So it's a book about a lot of things, about coming out as transgender, but also when you're transgender and you write a book and some of the poems in the book involve the fact that you're trans, everybody's like, ooh, exciting new trans story, very important and necessary, and all the words to say it's a book about being trans. And I'm like, it's about a lot of things. It's also about like generational trauma and God and all sorts, because I'm a big nerd. So I'm just gonna jump into it. This first poem has a very pretentious title of Ars Poetica, if you are a big poetry nerd. But it's also very much inspired by a Jim Steinman spoken word piece called Love and Death in an American Guitar. I will tell you everything. I will speak in precise details as if this is how it really happened. I was virgin as a fresh page, and I once killed a poem with a ballpoint pen. I don't remember if it was a villanelle or an epic, but I do remember the sudden gush of inky menarche. I don't remember if it was an ode or an apology, but I do remember the words tumbling over the cliff of my lips, these hunks of sweating meat requiring reassembly as I stitched the monster into being. My hands hemorrhaged, a blasphemous stigmata, and the blood was a spray of pomegranate seeds. The blood of my hands was a feeding frenzy in the underworld. My hands took the Lord's name in vain, and I could form words never even spoken before. So I took my hands. And I wrote about the Prime Minister. I wrote about fields of dead rabbits. I wrote about alcoholic mountaineers, wrote about unsatisfying orgasms, wrote about fucking a medical student. The medical student curled his hand around his cock. The poem curled its arms around its wounded belly, and I ran back to my house on the hill. Mummy and Daddy were eating at the kitchen table. Starved, I salivated over the hardwood floors, carved up splinters all the way to my seat. I flung open my notebook, and just as I was about to sign another black mark on the page, teeth squealing through a thick slice of back bacon, my father looked up and grunted, "Tell me something. I need to understand. Tell me something. You're the writer. How do I know when a poem is finished?" And I said, "God damn it, Daddy. You know I love you, but you have a hell of a lot to learn about editing." Thank you. So if you can see me smiling, my partner and some friends are like in the room as like a live audience for me, which is like really nice. That's Bob in the background. This is one of my weird poems. I wrote this a little while after it happened. There was this actor called Anton Yelchin, who some of you might be aware of. He was killed in a freak accident when he was like 27. And it left me with these really weird feelings. Like I haven't been like a particular fan, but it just felt like. And then I wrote this, which is called Anton Yelchin. I'm thinking of a dent in a set of iron railings. how the bend backwards still aches in the struts as if even now these bars are straining to pull away from their raw framework, the spine's final awful contortion. They're reporting that he was an actor, a young man with kiss curl hair and dimpled cheeks, still keen to talk about Stanislavski. They're printing his face in an oval beside a photograph of the damaged fence, and I am thinking of him pinned there like a butterfly, his lungs fluttering in the darkness. They're saying it probably took a full minute, and asking what he was thinking, stood there with the engine running. Perfect posture. Isadora Duncan. Nobody's watching. Freak accident, they're calling it. And I'm thinking of how some things can just creep up on you, like a Jeep rolling backwards down the drive whilst you're facing the other way. Thank you. So on the subject of generational trauma, my family had the single greatest anecdote of all time. Like, I've never told this anecdote and not had people be like, tell me everything immediately, every single detail of this. And we just didn't speak about it because it was a great family embarrassment. So the title really sums up this anecdote. It's this. My great-grandfather drops dead while conducting a seance at Auntie Christine's wedding. Think of it as a trick, and you'll get no response. Instead, you imagine yourself manning the switchboard, dials drifting beneath your hands, a fog of static trickling out of the headset and into the room, a soup of it strained through the glazed-in drapes. You are patching through to a citizen in another calling code. Hello? Hello? I have a message waiting for someone whose name begins with a J. You promised you wouldn't do this. Not again. Not today. A good Catholic wedding and you've the cheek to play at conjuring the dead. The kids still remember your last disappearing act, and these voices come through as a television playing in another room, terse and clipped. The 6 o'clock news bubbled up across time, scrambled cipher of rotted minds. And the words are always the same. Forgive me. Please forgive me. Yeah. So the next poem is the one that the collection takes its title from, and this is again another weird, horrible anecdote about. I went to school in Oldham. It was a good school in a very bad area, and our school playing fields were on like a public path, public kind of green type space called Oldham Edge. So this comes with a big trigger warning because this poem is about the man that self-immolated on my school playing fields. Yeah, it's called Immolations. You fell in love with the fireman's daughter, and I'm sorry for your misplaced faith. This will protect you no more than sigils traced on playing fields by children running through the mist. This is a harsh place. In summer, the moors burn, everything on foot turns to the water, collects in the reservoir live debris, and the earth churns up blackened bones that crumble to ash in your hands, the smallest of femurs, neat little skulls set with milk teeth, but it's winter's bite that's deepest. Do you remember our bare legs pink in the frost? How every snowflake scalded our skin, or the day we were turned back by panicked teachers, melting plastic, reaching our nostrils slower than burning flesh. A man rises at dawn with divine calm and walks onto Oldham Edge with a carton full of petrol and a pack of cigarettes. His eyes burst like yolks, run down his face as tears. He takes his medication, does not even scream. It was so cold then, huddled together like sheep, your hands clutching for warmth, ice on every breath, bodies grow numb, and year on year it returns. I'm frightened of who we are in winter. I'm frightened of what we will burn. I had a really bad year. I cannot convey to you how stupidly bad my year was. I had the great privilege of several relatives living into their 90s, which means, of course, they all then decided to go like dominoes. And the start of my really bad year began when my cat died unexpectedly. And this is a poem I wrote for my cat Toby. It's called A Prayer of St. Gertrude. If you're religious, specifically Catholic religious, that's the patron saint of cats. You can carry holy water in a jam jar sealed with wax paper, like the priest does, tight to her chest all through the hills after sundown when she comes to mark our house. If the spirit rots, you'll smell it, she says. It turns like milk. I give you the last of it. You'll take all the God you can get. Without you, the darkness has no edges. I hold you like a candle. It is not its hands that grasp me, but its infinite face, eyes carved clean from sockets, mouth stretched wide with silence. Distance is only wax. Time is only light. And if this is God's house, maybe it's vacant and the food on the table rotted down to dust. And if this is the room set aside for me, let the door be unbolted and let me leave it. And if no one else is coming, please stay. Please, God, please stay. Thank you to Aaron for having the patience to format that one, because it was a horrible nightmare to format. It's in like these 3 columns, but like the text doesn't just go down, it goes across and there's gaps and things, and I cannot convey to you how many rounds of formatting that poem went through. So like, yeah, Aaron's the same. I'm not going to leave you on that miserable note. I'm going to leave you on something a little bit silly, a little bit meany, very transgender. It's a poem inspired by the joke, every time somebody complains that there are too many genders these days, we add 2 new ones. And it's called Some Possible Genders. Ball boy. Girl guide. Motherfucker. Rat King, Her Majesty, MC, Lady Killer, ex-lover, godfather, grave cleric, cock jockey, cruel mistress, bootlicker, jobsworth, test tube baby, yummy mummy, yuppie scum, anti-vaxxer, trophy wife, here for a good time, not a long time, do you have like skin-tight payload, hominin, I have work tomorrow, cheat code, phone it in. Neoliberal, ex-Catholic, leaking pipe, Frankie says relax. Lie back and think of England. Bonus track, urban myth, past due, Prosecco flavour, panic attack, panopticon, curb stomp, deck chair, semaphore, high vis, give them an inch, kettling. Do you hear the people sing? If the glove fits, if then, system flag may have had sex with a man who may have had sex with a man. Hypodermic, intravenous, transubstantiation, scientific method. Wisdom teeth, bathroom stall, Eurovision, cosmic latte. Can I take your order, please? Alcoholic, VIP, wall to wall, on the boil, hands up. I don't want to fight tonight. Baby, it's cold outside. 2 kids in a trench coat, pyromaniac, piggyback, you spin me right round, I do believe in fairies, don't call me brave. Feeling lucky, fire drill, union rep back in my day, what can I say, lick it up, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn this way. Ekphrastic, biblically accurate perfume advert, programming error, corporate espionage, do not resuscitate, education, section 28, cursive 5 GCSEs, A star to see your name here, day release, thought police, digitate your medication. Temporal paradox, meat suit, messiah, mop and bucket, salt on the rim, strangler fig, depth charges, my profit on it, supermarket own brand, sugar-coated swingers party, suburban monstrosity, fixer-upper, it gets better, point on the diagram, scattergraph, outlier who should not have been counted, unexplained phenomena, gaping maw, astronaut, brilliant, brief being. Thank you so much.